Um, okay, so I have a question. Can we use my own story? I'm dealing with
Yes.
this right now.
Okay, tell me.
Okay, so this is all transparency, super vulnerable here in the story.
Okay.
So I own a 2015 Honda Pilot. I bought it cash when it was 3 years old, $21,000. I did get financing on it, but I paid it all off within a month. Super excited about it. I've had it this whole time. I have no car payment. When you were talking about your story, safety net, saving money, provider verse, I've been in provider mode pretty much my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
So constantly making money, constantly, go, 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 creating income for myself because I came from so much lack, which we're not going to get into that. So this is the dilemma I have right now. I'm used to not having a car payment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in provider mode, like I just am. I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
Even though I have a safety net or two, totally fine. But like my brain doesn't compute that. Okay.
I know.
So I'm having issues with my car right now. It's doing some funky stuff. The car, I took it to two places, dealership, my mechanic, $10,000. Okay, so I
Mm,
paid $10,000. It's a Honda Pilot. They're saying I can get another 100,000 miles off of it if I just invest $10,000. Okay,
mm-hmm.
but it's a 2015 Honda Pilot. It's old, right? Doesn't really fit my lifestyle. I'm elevating in so many areas of my life, my health, my
Mm-hmm.
business, the way that I speak. I'm stepping into my power. So my car doesn't really match where I feel like I am.
Right.
However, no one sees my car.
Right.
Everything I do is online. So it doesn't really matter. Okay. So that's one. Two, do I just sell the car and then end up going into car payments and or not, but basically just dropping a bunch of freaking money out of my account? Ego, right? Is that ego? Is that happiness? Like, how do I gauge that? How do I know that me not wanting to stay in my 2015 Honda Pilot, even though it makes more sense financially, it's only 10 grand,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Versus dropping 20 or 30 grand because you can't even buy a decent car right now for 20 grand again. It's 30
Mm-hmm.
grand basically.
Right.
And dropping either cash or getting payments again on a new
Mm-hmm.
car.
Yeah.
How do I know pleasure versus provider so that I'm doing it in alignment with what you are talking about?
Yeah. Well, if you were my client, one of the things that we would look at is your overall financial picture. So we would look at, okay, what is your income? What are your expenses? What's left at the end of the month? You said you have a safety net or two.
Mhm.
So that probably means like if you needed to, if you had to pay cash for this car,
Mhm.
you could, but that would leave you feeling panicked because your safety
Yes.
net would feel thin, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, um, but you feel like this car doesn't match you anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's old.
And here's the thing, part of it is not just the fact that nobody sees this car. It affects you, right? It's like, sure, your office looks great, but what if we walked outside and the rest of your house looked like a disaster? Like you're you're carrying that energy with you, right? And so if we said, okay, let's start, let's do a little shopping, right? Let's look online. Let's see what sort of car I would want to have, what sort of car matches me now, what would make me happy, and let's look at payments, right? You can go on to bankrate.com and you can say, okay, what happens if I put 10,000 down? Let's put 10,000 plus whatever we get for the car that's not running, right? So let's just say you get 15. All right. So now your safety net has $10,000 less. Does that feel like panic mode to you?
No.
Okay. If you, so there's part of your answer right there. So let's say you got a newer car and you had a payment. Now, if you're making regular money in your business,
I am.
how much money? So if I said, okay, so if I just plopped a $500 car payment in your lap, would you feel panicked about that?
No.
Okay. What about $1,000 car
But yeah, that's not a thing.
payment? Okay. So there we go. We've kind of found, all right, 500 is a no-brainer for
Yeah.
you. And putting $10,000 cash down,
Yeah.
right? So let's shop and look at the numbers. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, this is actually a perfect time for you to be shopping because many of the dealerships probably still have 2024 models on the floor. The 2025s are in, everybody wants a 2025.
Yeah.
No one is going to know but you what model your car is.
Yeah.
So when I bought my Alfa Romeo Giulia in 2021, I paid cash for it. I traded in my old car. I paid $10,000 less for it because it was a 2020.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what year my car is unless they've listened to this podcast. And I've done that with the last 3 cars that I've bought, right? So if you say, okay, do you still have any 2024s on the lot? They are almost giving those away with zero profit margin because their bosses are telling them, get this car off my lot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
before you go in, find out from your bank, if you finance it through the bank, what sort of interest rate and payments you can get through your local bank or credit union before you go to the dealer. Because when you look at their terms, you've got a negotiation point and you may find that it's a better deal for you to finance it through the bank. And here's the thing, you can always pay it off early.
To avoid so much interest.
Yeah.
See, that's the issue is like my analytical brain clicks in because I bought cash for my cars, the last 3 cars. They were all 20,000 or less. But so I'm like aware, I'm happy. It's like part of my identity of like, yeah, I don't pay interest for my car because I'm such a badass, right? I
Right.
keep my expenses low. I'm very realistic with everything. I'm not a risk taker. But now thinking of $30,000 being dropped out of my account cash, that's giving me anxiety.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, so now I have to do payments. But then I know that so much money is going towards interest and I like hate that for myself.
Well, I think you actually need to look and see when you look at your payments exactly how much is going to interest.
I do have good credit now. That's the other thing. The other cars that I bought, my credit wasn't as good. Now I have perfect picture credit,
Yeah.
so that should help, I assume.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. What if you made 130% of your car payment every month?
Yeah.
And so you're paying an extra 30% towards the principal. So, you can end up paying it off in 2 or 3 years. And if you have a great year at the end of the year and you're looking at your savings account, you're like, I'm just going to pay this off.
I love that. Cool.
So,
Thank you. And to
here's
everyone,
the thing.
go ahead.
I heard you say this is the kind of person that I am. I don't pay interest.
Yeah, it's like something that I'm proud of. Like I brag about it. Like it's part of my identity,
Yeah. So here's the thing. It's like, you're not a bad person if you pay interest.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean you've changed your core identity if you change your mind about that. Right.
Okay.
So currently, my husband and I are debt free. We paid off the mortgage. And we've talked about what are the instances where we might go back into debt. And pretty much what we have agreed upon is the only thing we would go into debt for is if we had the potential to get in on a business, a profitable business, or if we found our absolute dream house and we didn't want to completely deplete our savings, that we would be okay, getting a mortgage, knowing we would be paying it off in less than 5 years. That would be our goal. Even if it was a 15-year mortgage or a 20-year mortgage, our goal would be we're paying this off in 5 years.
Got it. I love that. What a great conversation.
Well, good. I'm glad that was helpful. And I think that is a very good example because a lot of these issues are not black and white. There's a lot of shades of gray.
Yeah.
And, if I had asked a few more questions about your personal finances and you were like, well, I only have 5 grand in my savings account. I don't
Yeah.
have enough to pay cash, then the conversation might have gone a different path.